I mean, I've had it. So it's
oh, the red one?
I don't really do too much of that. I'm gonna get a little top off here, sir. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Yeah, so we can kind of start this thing.
All right, let's get going. There you go.
Let's see, for the purposes of, everybody's good, looks clean.
There you go.
That's you.
All right, welcome back. Welcome to another episode of the Ladies of LLP, which stands for Let's LS Play, formerly known as Girl Just Wanna Have Fun, but we still wanna have fun.
Yes.
Okay, now, a lot of people said, oh, honey, you're in a podcast. Let me introduce myself. I go by Applesauce Lorraine, otherwise known as Honey Dip, depending on when you got in the lifestyle and when we met. So my counterparts are not here for the evening, but I'm holding it down for everyone. We have our wonderful guests. These are the perfect strangers. This is Sade and Sherlan Sade.
Hey guys.
Yes. So these two, so basically with the Ladies of LLP, what we're doing here is just giving you a who's who, what's what, who's doing what in the lifestyle today. So now we're going to get to our guests. They are event hosts. And might I say, pretty swanky digs. Pretty swanky indeed. I really dig them. Like, they're like a real genuine couple. Their events are sort of what's been missing in this new lifestyle. Now, I've only been in for about 5 years. But from what people say, this is not how it is now. You know, they say, honey, you would miss it. You know, if you knew what the old lifestyle was, you would miss it. Okay. And these two have found their own way to bring that into today. So now, Sade and Sherlan, how are you?
Hey.
We're good. We're good.
Good.
All is well.
So can you tell me a little bit about yourselves? Just a little.
I'll go. Okay. I've been in the lifestyle for over 10 years. I came in as a single. A group of friends of mine who we developed a foundation leading me into the LS, went to our first party and so forth and so on. I therefore moved into a unicorn, which didn't work out for me, but then ended out with this beautiful, handsome man for a wonderful 3 years. But I will consider myself not a unicorn anymore, but just normally in the lifestyle.
Yes. What about you, Sherlan? I hear you're a DJ?
Yeah, so that's my professional background. DJ, 20 plus years and such. Strong hospitality, corporate background as well. You know, just in the business of taking care of people, making sure people have a good time and such. Lifestyle-wise, same thing. 10 plus year lifestyle veteran, have DJ'd at some of the most popular lifestyle and swingers clubs in the area. Still currently doing that as well. Come through with a background of, I won't call them expert opinions, but more best practices of what works and what doesn't work, just from what I've seen. And we try to bring that into our own space and what we're doing here at The Strangers.
Nice. All right, so with you two being a couple, how do you feel about your wife playing with other men, and like how do you guys determine your guidelines for that?
Well, early on it was really easy for us. You know, when we started dating, we kind of set the stage for where we wanted to be with regard to a relationship, right? We knew off top that monogamy wasn't for us, right? And that was one of the things that we made clear probably on, let's say, date 2, right? We also set the stage for understanding that, sex is sex, love is love. You know, sometimes the two overlap, oftentimes they don't. All right, so with regard to, us playing, we play together, we play separately. She plays with whom she wants, I play with whom I want, as neither one of us own each other. Right, her body's hers to choose to do what she chooses with it. Mine is mine. It's just a matter of communication, and discussion. So our format is just really, really simple. She wants to play. All I need to just be done, just informed for safety reasons and obviously concern for her well-being and such. We have established time limits, if you will, and distances in place.
What do you mean time limits?
Well, depending if we're talking about dating at a party versus going on a date or what have you, those things don't take 24 hours to do.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, we have pre-established limits on what those things are and such. And obviously everything is subject to the people involved. So our time limits and such may not work for another person, or our boundaries and such may not work for another couple.
Right.
Because these things should be highly individualized. But again, going back with the old school theme of this is about pleasure. It's about fantasy fulfillment. If we're restricting ourselves from any part of that, then what are we doing here?
Precisely.
We're wasting time because this is about the experience that we're having.
Yeah.
This is not, and life doesn't revolve just around the lifestyle.
Sure.
So you can't treat it like that. I think that's when people, they kind of they get a little mixed up.
Yeah.
Where they make everything about lifestyle and it's not. It's
right.
just, but I think it's important enough to have things like podcasts like this to talk about some of those things because, everyone doesn't know where their lane is.
Sure.
We have a lot of newbies and they don't know what they like and, how to find it and different people. Well, you might get invited to one of these parties. You might not, but you might pick something up. It might click later on.
Exactly.
And it just might help you, or it may help you help somebody else. So I think, stuff like this is real important to do.
It's true.
So what do you think are some of the best ways for singles to approach couples? Because I know a lot of times females, they may want to play, maybe with just the male or just the female, So what if, I wanted to play with y'all? What would y'all want me to do? Like some of the things you would want me to do to make sure that happened?
Well, I definitely could say one thing, communication. We get a lot of naysayers that'll look across the room all night and then by the next day, oh, I wish I could have. We're approachable. We don't like more so of the aggressive tactics, but if we see a vibe, if we see that you're, communicative, willing to answer questions, just on the spot, the first 30 seconds, is a true tell-all, whether they're here for me or us. And as he explains, which he'll later further, keywords, you versus y'all, or, I like to play with you guys versus I like to play with her, she, him. So it's just more so of just being upfront and, honest, just putting it out there, because the worst that can happen is continuing lingering and then not knowing where to go, how to navigate, and it becomes a dead zone.
Right.
So I just feel if you're upfront, accurate with what you want, then we can go and project together whether we want them or he or she might want them.
All right, and we're back. And so, Sherlan, so we were talking about you guys playing with singles. So the question that I had asked was about females. And the paraphrase that I had put together was basically, you're not going to be necessarily looking for the female to do anything particular, but you're going to recognize, like what she really's after. If she just wants you or her, or if she wants both of y'all. And then you were going to say something else with that.
Right. So I think I was just really touching on the subject more directly, is that having a direct approach, is always effective. We spend a lot of time playing coy, if you will. If there's interest, say so, right? If there isn't, equally say so. Do you owe your time to anyone? No. But respectfully, if you're in this place, right, I think most of us go under the assumption that you're there to be approached and you're there seeking to play, which is typically how it was. What tends to happen at events now is the fact that people come and spend the entire night socializing.
Mm-hmm.
And then as folks are starting to dwindle down, they then go on this rampage, if you will, to try to
Looking
To get as many as they can.
or anything, for that matter.
Meanwhile, we'll lower ourselves thinking we're too fast forward or so, sit on a cut, but at the end of the night, we almost feel like, the pick of the litter. And it's like, that could have been avoided, hours ago if you just would have approached us.
So you feel the same way about when guys want to play? Like,
absolutely. Absolutely. Again, everything we do is 1,000% equal. There's nothing that she can do I can't, or vice versa. So
right.
as far as that goes, it's absolutely the same. I think today, so much of the problem is couples have gotten a bad rap, if you will.
Yeah.
And you have to understand.
Yeah, because one thing you had said, my desire to fuck you is not the same as my ability to fuck you.
Right.
Yeah, no, you said that, and that was real good. Like, that resonated.
I mean, it's like this, One, neither one of us are particularly pressed to play, and with that being said, as I spoke on earlier, if you approach properly, what have you, and you give us something to quote unquote sink our teeth into, give us a reason to want to move beyond just a casual conversation, because quite honestly, what you say, how you say it, what you do, all of those things affect.
Yes.
If you want to call it the decision-making process, it's like this for us. When we go to a party, we're going there because if we play, we play. If we don't, we don't.
Right.
However, we are there with the intent of playing, because that's why we went to that party as opposed to a club,
right.
a lounge, a nice spot, a restaurant, what have you.
Yeah.
So, going back to what we were speaking on earlier, with regard to being approached or what have you, be direct with us. It seems like a bit of an anomaly for what we've been hearing. Mostly is that when, we tell people that, they're like, oh, really? Most couples don't. The girl doesn't play with other guys, or the significant other doesn't allow it, and that whole statement of allow is a problematic one. But that's one for another discussion.
That implies something completely else.
Yeah, but generally speaking, when we're talking single, male or female, side note before I say that, know this, right? Approaching any one of us singularly with the intent of playing with you and your significant other is never going to happen. Let's make that very clear. And for those, couples out there that think any part of that is okay, you're wrong, right? There should never be a case where a couple approaches a person in another couple for only one of them. Even if you're not interested in the other intimately, that person should still be involved in the conversation.
They should. They should. I mean, and that kind of goes into the emotional IQ of it, is because if they're in a couple and they know someone else is in a couple, why would they, knowing what they had, want to disturb what someone else has? It's just a kind of way of thinking. It's like, really, who are you? And then you're making this request like that. You're making yourself stand out in a certain kind of way.
It happens more often than we like it to. And there's situations where it'll be, let's say, the male part of a couple, or the female part of a couple, they'll inbox her. Fine, dandy. That's not a problem. We don't really care one way or another. About conversation on inboxes or what have you. And you're cute, you're fine, you're hot, you got a fat ass, whatever the case may be. All of that sounds great. All right, and then the next statement will be, we want you to join us, right? And it goes back to what Dave was saying earlier. You got to watch those pronouns. We want you. So so there's a we there.
There's also a we here.
Right. Right. we want you. Right. So then the next thing, which will typically happen, we'll be like, great, well, I'll add my man to this group chat. We'll, see what happens. And then from that point on, you normally get crickets.
Silence.
So again, just speaking to these couples for a moment, I want them to just think about the idea of, what if you got that inbox, hey, pretty young lady, you fine as hell. I know I just saw a picture on your profile with you and your husband on your wedding day. However, you know what I mean? Me and mine would like to take you, for a night, and do all these things with you while he's at home.
No.
So.
No, if I were
you can never get to know us by taking one of us out separately. That makes no sense.
Yeah, because at that point, it's like, you're just flipping a coin.
Yep.
And you're not going to win with that one.
Right. And again, it's not to say that you're going to connect with everyone. Again, even if one person is not interested in the other intimately, right? Yeah. There's still the thing with regard to the community aspect of it, right? We all know it's really hard for one person to find attraction, right? So, you're out, you find somebody attractive. Now, imagine trying to find two people that find somebody attractive. Now, let alone if you all had to agree on attractiveness before play started. Yeah. Can you imagine how difficult it would ever be for couples to play? If all four of you had to agree every single time, you guys were looking to play. Now, to be fair, back in the day, if you will, it was typical, it was customary, it was normal, right? Yeah. But things evolve, times change, whatever, and that's just not the way it is today. Right. So, today there are a lot more singles in the lifestyle than there previously were. Yeah. I would almost say, particularly in our area, I'll say from the urban markets, you'll find it predominantly dominated by singles, which is fine, as long as there's the understanding that couples, and the enhancement of that dynamic, whether you're male or female based on current guidelines, is the ultimate goal, right? And should you happen to be a single male or single female that finds their connection like we did within this space, that's wonderful. But at the end of the day, let's not forget what the original intent was for, and it was about couples, linking up with other like-minded couples to not only, be intimate with one another and have sex and to fulfill fantasies, but to also build, a community, based on like-mindedness.
Yeah. Do you think that's why there's so much lifestyle cuff-ant parties?
I would say yes. I think people tend to gravitate to comfortability. They fear of their partner, reaching out and feeling that that maybe they don't get home. And then that leads to other things. But it's like, I'm here for a physical fantasy and intent to have satisfactory, and then proceed to continue on once I leave. Right. I don't have this mindset of, I want that again. I can't wait to get that again. It was a moment. It was great. It was amazing. If it moves forward, then so be it. That's something privately. If not, I go home and I go back to, business as usual. Right.
To piggyback on that, I use this analogy all the time, and I love it because it's become one of my favorites. And that's the analogy of, think of a lifestyle event as a trip to Six Flags, right? To your favorite amusement park.
I want to ride all the rides, and I ride the roller coasters in the front seat, in the front, and I will wait longer to go in the front. This is not the easy back.
So for that day, you pack up the lunch, you take the long drive, you go, and you experience roller coasters, and you wait on the rides, and you do all of those things, and then when you're all done, you leave with the memory of a great time, and you're done until the next time you're ready to do that. Right?
With the shades on.
Okay.
And with the shades on, right?
That part.
But it's the same thing, right? You want the thrill and the excitement, of that roller coaster. Yes. Right? You want that drop. You're scared to death going up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right? you know, that's walking into the party. You know, you don't know what's going on yet. You're trying to catch the vibe.
Yeah, trying to see if you know anybody there.
Yeah, but then you get to the top and then you start getting excited. You know, that's when you start to see the people.
Yeah.
And then the drop comes and it's like, whoo, and then the acceleration, right?
Yeah.
So you know, now you've been there and you've had a successful connection, and when that's done, you know, you get off the ride and you talk about it and you say it was worth the wait.
Yeah.
And that was great. You know, and then you get back home and then you go to work the next day.
Right.
That part.
You know, I'm not on the phone with Great Adventure staff like, yo, you know, what's going on?
Right.
Right. Yeah. No.
You know what I mean? And it's the same thing. You know, after that encounter, there's no need to, hey,
Continue that, because that's not necessarily what we're here for.
Right.
You know?
Not necessarily.
You know, if we're gonna be going to one another's events, you know, if we enjoy one another's company, it may not even be that, you know, we have to play with each other now every time we see each other.
Correct.
Exactly.
Because frankly, you know, when I'm hosting, I can't really play.
Right.
I don't really have the time. I may want to bust it open one time. You know, I have dipped off because I make like honey and dip.
Yeah, okay. I know that's right.
I have dipped off.
I know that's
and give me my 90 seconds, and now he's sleeping on the sofa taking a nap, and they're like, yo, honey, what did you do to...
Okay. Shh. I'm back to work.
That was his. Don't worry about what's his. That was his. All right? So, yes, it's really just like that, you know? You know, you just got to ride your wave.
Had to.
Yes.
Get away from I mean, at the end of the day, and I know it's a little off topic at this point, but at the end of the day, when it comes to these events, whether you're single or you're a couple, you know, state your intent. I had this conversation. I had a conversation with a partner of mine the other night. You know, this thing isn't really hard, right? I think today people make more of it than it needs to be. Kind of based on what you're saying regarding the cuffing and whatnot, right? It's you meet someone here, if they like you, they'll get back with you.
Yeah.
You know, it really is that simple. This is one of those areas where, you know, persistence will get you blacklisted, if you will. You know, it is the case that the women and the men of the lifestyle of any region do speak with each other, and like all things that are niche, you know, the community is small. It's a lot smaller than you think.
Right.
You know, you could find yourself here in Philadelphia where we are, and they will know about your actions down in Atlanta.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
So,
especially if your name rings bells.
Correct. You know, and not for nothing, speaking on that point, you know, all that you really have is your reputation here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your reputation and your word.
Right.
Listen, that's why I say I only got two things in this world. Is my pussy and my pride. And neither one of those bitches is coming before the other.
I know that's right.
And my pussy is not my guy.
Well, I got my word and my balls. I'm not breaking either one for nobody.
I'm just here for the comments. I can't, you know, I can't go for either or. I'm split in the middle.
We gotta drop mad ism.
That you got to.
Well, I got this much time.
That part.
Yes.
That part.
Yes. So now, when you're playing, or when you're gonna play, like say it's working out, right? Now, what if you find out afterwards, like they're actually a hoe, right?
Okay.
Like, does the body count matter?
Why should it?
As long as it's protected.
That part.
That's all I'm saying.
And listen, what we do is an absolutely high risk behavior. Let's make no mistake about that part.
Yeah.
Right? When we engage in high risk behavior, we need to make sure that we're protecting ourselves.
That part.
But body counts don't matter. I mean, here's the reality of it. You know, you never know. The only person that knows is that person in God.
Mm-hmm.
Because, right, I could have really just taken down 1,500 people over the course of my life and tell you I've been with 7.
Right.
How are you going to know the
difference? With a straight face. With a straight face.
How are you going to know
7.
the difference? You know,
maybe 11 if I'm feeling zesty.
I could have gotten off the phone with you and you said, Sherlan, I'm so in love with you. I'm on my way to you right now. You could knock on my door and you could have just got out of the car with a dick in your mouth. How would I know?
True that.
How would I know? So we need to stop worrying about things like body count and just worry about things about the person, the character of the person themselves.
Yeah.
You know, when you find yourself dealing with people that, you know, not only, you know, have a genuine care and respect for themselves, you know, that naturally translate into a care and respect for others, you know, and such. And again, all of those things, you know, carry through all the things that we do. You know, and so it's going back to what I was saying earlier. You know, you can talk yourself out of some action. The way you move, right?
Yeah.
Can talk you out of some
Because
action.
it'd be time for some action.
Oh, yes.
But then the mouth just
That one thing, that one move, and you miss your mark.
It could have literally been, you know, we just happen to be somewhere and I see you. You know, somebody said this earlier on the pod I was watching. You know, it's to the point where if I see somebody and they're being a dick to the waitress or the waiter, you know, for no reason, that right there's instant turn off for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like I could have seen you at the party, you could have been hot or this, that, and the third, but now I see that and I'm like,
Interaction with another.
That's what they say. Sometimes, you know, you have to live with somebody to really see the person that they are, but even not even necessarily to that level, because you know it really is levels to everything.
Sure.
You know, even with just spending a little bit more time with someone outside of a lifestyle setting, which now that's a little bit vanilla.
That precedes a whole other area.
It is right, but here's the thing, right? Let's be realistic with this thing, right? And this kind of ties into your body count thing. While that number doesn't matter, right? You know, live how you live, get how you get it. You know, I think by all means, if we were not to form any relationships with people, and therefore every interaction had to be with someone new,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
You would run out of people very quickly.
Yeah, because there's but so much reduce, reuse, recycle you could use.
You know what I mean? Well, I mean, the whole idea is this, you know, this thing is, you know, it's about community. It's no different than you know, your fantasy football clubs, your people that you know, play Madden together. It's no different than the dart league. You know, these people get the bowling league, they get together, they drink their beer, they bowl, because that makes them feel good.
Right. Oh, I mean, well, that, well, yes,
You
yes,
know what
of
I'm
course.
saying?
Yes,
You know, those things
exactly.
make them feel good. So it's no different, you know, in that regard. We're doing this because this is what, you know, what makes us feel good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, people overcomplicate
Right.
where we are here.
Right. So then why do you think, see now, all right, so then why do you think sometimes lifestyle guys feel like they don't want to take other lifestyle females like out, but they would a vanilla female?
Because they're not in the lifestyle.
Oh, she don't know them rules.
Okay.
She don't know them things.
So it's like this, and I'll let they speak on it in a second. I mean, it's as simple as this. Again, we started this conversation, you know, kind of a little bit of history of things, and you know, when you're not in a couple dynamic, right? There's nothing for you to lose, right? You're not committed to anything. There's no attachment to the game.
Only your image,
only yourself,
your reputation.
right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things to whereas, okay, if you're a single again, you know, man or woman, you'll find somebody you might play with here, but you're not gonna date that person exclusively, right? But you'll go date a vanilla chick, but still cheat, right? So so that's why I said you're not lifestyle, right?
So what's cheating in the lifestyle versus like what will constitute cheating in the lifestyle versus like cheating in, you know, in the vanilla world?
So the lifestyle's simple, man. We're talking, it's like this. You know, the umbrella for all this is ethical non-monogamy, right? By ethical meaning it's sanctioned
non-monogamy.
right? By meaning it's been discussed, it's sanctioned, everything is on the above.
It has been expressed and implied.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no hidden clauses. Everything right here is up front.
And the ink is dry.
Yes.
So, with that being the case, right, no difference. The moment you lie, right?
The shit don't fly.
It doesn't. Man,
I do too. Yes.
So to answer your question, is there a difference?
Oh, sorry.
Shout
out to Snoop.
To answer your question, is there a difference? No.
No, not at all.
Cheating is cheating,
Yeah.
right? And the moment that you've done something that you feel you have to hide, that you feel your partner should know, or what have you, you know it's cheating. You know that within yourself. You know what I mean? Like, for example, our phone passwords have been the same for our entire dating existence. You know, those memes, like, could your significant other have your phone for 24 hours?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And you know what? That's great that y'all do that. Because once you start it that way, listen, it sets the ground for that comfortability.
Absolutely.
To actually be honest and be upfront that this is what is what, and this is what I'm thinking about, or whatever what you think about that. It's a building thing.
It is.
I appreciate y'all for doing it. I didn't know y'all did that.
It's like one of those things, man. It's just to the point where you don't even care. It's truly the case that it's there. You know what I mean? If I need to get into, if I need to look at something, if I'm bored,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's there. But yeah, I mean, but those are little things, and again, not that we're without our own issues, what have you. But I would say our issues revolve around the vanilla side of relationship life.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not the lifestyle side of relationship life.
Yeah, it's that I got to wake up now.
Right.
And you still here.
Right.
And I'm still here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying?
So those are the things that normal people are going to have. Again, there's going to be, bumps and valleys across the road in any dynamic.
Yeah.
When you're talking about this stuff, feelings are going to change, attitudes are going to change, emotions are going to change, people are going to change overall. But again, day one, with us has been communication. If you're not talking about it, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one thing that I've seen about you too, is that communication is really, really a big thing. And, without...
You gotta be able to have those hard conversations.
Right, you have to, because without
without
understanding, there's really no communication. Because if I don't know what the fuck you're saying,
right.
if I can't grasp and get my mind and my feelings around what you're saying, there's no way I could actually take it in me and say, well, they have this complaint. Let me not just be hurt just because they're saying it. Let me actually think about what they're saying. Just what they're saying, right? I'm not going to use my female manipulation.
Right.
I'm not going to use my instant guilt tripperator because I have it.
Right.
I have it.
Right.
But you can't use it. You can't go through life manipulating, right? So I've come to a point in life where I'm tired of that shit, right?
True.
So it's whatever it is, that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? So that's a great thing that y'all have that open communication like that. So it's hard
too. Yeah.
It's heartwarming for little heathens like me. Cheers.
I'm a recovering heathen, so I understand.
Man, once a member, always a member, okay? It's like the Marines.
That part.
A little Great Santini.
That part. Okay.
So in y'all like y'all personal life, right? Do you have like a rotation of sorts of play partners that you like to, periodically make sure y'all touch base?
We used to.
Oh, application season is open. It's open season. Yes.
We did.
Oh,
we
summer bae. Are you looking for a summer bae?
Oh, 2022.
Spring fling.
Spring fling. Oh, and I am hosting a photo shoot with Latiga Poole on March 20th. That's a Sunday. It will be a spring fling. So.
Get ready.
Y'all look out for that.
Get ready.
There's a couple other events coming up.
As it should.
Lots of waist beads going around.
As it should. But yeah, we collectively or separately, I'll call it teams or bench warmers that periodically get hit up every once in a while. Whatever scratch needs to be itched, whether together or We try to, move more of the togetherness because we are a couple.
Yeah.
And as he piggybacks, some people just don't know how to approach us, and we later found out that people need reassurance. As open as I feel we are, because it has got such a bad rap with couples, people really need that reassurance. So at times, like you said, that mind manipulation, in my mind, I'd be like, sis, dude, how many times I gotta tell you that?
Like,
but in any dynamic or any situation, they could have witnessed something 24 hours ago, a day ago, to where it's now seeing us again. It's like, still need to know.
Right.
Though we might engage or partake or communicate. So even in that moment, it's like, do I keep going in that? Is it worth that?
Yeah.
Or should they know and I wash my hands of it?
Right.
But, for the most part,
Right.
we try to keep our inner flames going so that way our flame
outer flame
together burns.
Can burn as bright as the inner flame has already been burning.
Facts.
Yes.
Well,
I'm feel good. All right, so we're gonna start to kind of wrap up.
Okay.
But now, my last question that I have, what you're building here is it's a beautiful home.
Thank you.
Now, it's in Philadelphia, and there are other homes that they look the same, but they don't look like this one, right? So, and it's like, it's the kind of thing that it touches more on legacy, not just having a name or what have you, because the parties pop. They host parties weekly, and they jump. So look out for Perfect Strangers. If you're on Facebook, look up the Perfect Strangers. If you're on Instagram, is it Perfect Strangers as well?
Perfect Strangers Lounge.
On Instagram, look them up. See, that's they're my kind of twist. So yeah, and the vibe is to where you can be yourself as long as there's no drama, no bullshit.
Absolutely.
You bring your essentials. You bring your BYOT,
Okay.
your BYOB, and bring your good attitude. Listen, you're gonna be doing some karaoke. You're gonna be playing some other kind of games.
You're gonna be doing some dancing.
And so, a lot of dancing. Yes. And you might want to bring your knee pads too, just in case. I don't know how spicy you're gonna feel.
If the mood hits you.
You might be breakdancing.
Yes, breakdancing. Yes, bend backwards.
That part.
They said bend over, don't lean.
Okay. Facts.
So I know, and there's a lot of people that are hosting parties and things like that, at their homes or whatever. So, what do you think is the difference between fame and legacy?
I mean, what we're doing here isn't about fame. I've been a DJ again for a very
And how
long
does that tie into the lifestyle as well? It's not all about that.
Yeah, well, for sure. Well, let's start with just the idea of Perfect Strangers. It's again, going back to me being a DJ for a really long time and being involved in the circles. A lot of my closest friends work with national acts and such. They do well. However, if you were to meet any of them, they don't care about any of that. What they care about is laying a foundation, of hard work for their kids and so on and so forth. And it's kind of the same thing, for us here and what we're doing here. I don't need to be famous. I don't need anybody to know my name.
Right.
Yeah.
What I do need them to know is Perfect Strangers and myperfectstrangers.com.
Absolutely.
That's what I do need them to know. Because what we're building here is, again, an ode to vibe, to community, to sexy people, to interaction. Not just 1,000 messages in a chat or in a group that lives online. It's funny, and as this meta thing takes
That lives online. Right. Okay. Listen.
As this meta thing begins to take place, right? People don't realize it, and I'm not a huge conspiracy theorist. I understand technology and how it works. But one thing that's happening is that we're moving to separate people from actually interacting with one another in person. You know, create an avatar, create a Bitmoji, create a Memoji, create all these things so you can be the you know, that you want to be or that you want to present or what have you. You know, what ends up happening is that, you know, these people
that you're not, but you want to present as yourself.
Right.
Because you don't want to really present yourself.
And for whatever reason, I mean, that could be for any number of reasons.
Right.
But what it's definitely doing is taking people away from dealing with others in person. Social interaction and knowing how to address folks and deal with people and you know, begin a conversation, you know, beginning to end, you know, how to go to dinner with somebody without every other word being about sex or whatever. How to go to a game, how to just hang out, you know, because here's the thing is that right now it's almost primal. It's aside from the sexual need of it, online is fine for most. You know,
it's like far enough, but close enough to where they can access it, but far enough to where they can't.
That's not what we want. You know, there's a whole different feeling, you know, to somebody being within your presence. You know, there's a whole different level of bonding that begins to occur, you know, with somebody. And we all know that the stronger of a connection you feel towards someone, right, the better the sex is going to be.
God.
You know, it's as simple as that. You know, this isn't rocket science. It's, you know, what it is, the stronger the bond, the better sex is going to be. So, you know, you're only doing yourself a favor by interacting with people, you know, on a regular basis and, you know, getting to learn the likes and dislikes and so on and so forth. You know, because if you really tune in, you know, it'll make you a much better lover all across the board.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree.
My 2 cents. Again, not an expert, just a series of best practices.
Smooth criminal.
Okay.
Yes.
That part.
Annie, are you okay?
I agree with all
Annie,
this.
are you okay?
I'm okay.
Annie said she was okay.
I am okay.
People, how many years did we wait to finally figure out that Annie is okay?
Oh, she is.
She is.
Annie been alright.
Which Annie we talking about? Little orphan Annie? Annie Oakley.
We should tie her up though. I do have a rope.
You know what?
That's right.
I do have a rope.
That takes you back to Annie Oakley.
Yeah.
Annie might not be okay.
Are you Annie?
That was the gist.
Are you volunteering for the role?
Jesus.
You're volunteering for the role?
Yes.
I volunteer as tribute. Okay.
Right.
That part. It's a movie rolls by.
Yes. All right, but we're gonna wrap it up. Listen, I thank y'all so much
Thanks for having
for
us.
allowing me to interview you today. You're always informative, always wonderful vibe to be around. So y'all make sure you follow them. Again, you said the email was.
Well, follow us on the web at myperfectstrangers.com. Make sure you follow us on IG at Perfect Strangers Lounge. And you can follow us on Facebook at Perfect Strangers Lounge as well. Make sure you come and check us out. We're here each and every Wednesday, Friday, located in West Philadelphia. You do need to contact us first because all of our members must be vetted before they're allowed to come to our events. But we do hope to see you.
Definitely.
Hey, see, yes. And I have several events that are coming up as well. So keep an eye out on my Facebook page. It's Applesauce of Rain. And then you also want to check out Girls Just Want to Have Fun on Facebook and Girls Just Want to Have Fun on IG. It's going to be moving over to llp.lifestyle podcast.
Okay.
So stay tuned for that. So I really appreciate y'all for coming out today.
Yes.
Much love. Be good to yourselves.
Bye.
Be good to each other.
And